Hi, this is Paul from Cuddlepot Bootcamp. We use the Children Learning Reading program to teach our son to read before he was 3. Today I'm having a chat with Jim Yang, the founder of the program, and we're going to talk about what you need to know to do the program effectively. Stay tuned for after, and you'll see some footage of our son reading. Jim Yang, thanks for making the time for us.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for doing your program. We came across your program 3 years ago when we were, just researching what to do and everything. And at that time, we had seen a lot of the whole word learning, and it didn't really make sense to us because, we didn't, at school, we did sound it out, like you sound your words out. And it didn't make sense how you go from learning the whole words to having a fluency with language. And then we saw your program and how it was geared to younger kids, and that it was possible to do.
It works for the really young kids, like even 2-3 year olds, but you can actually even have illiterate adults learn to read using that same method.
Yeah, that's right. Why would it be any different? Yeah. And so it was really great. So we found your program when he was only 6 months old.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't start it then.
No,
you say in
yeah.
your video, you say in your video, you got to wait until they can talk, before you can do a lesson with them. But you also say that phonemic awareness is really important. So we just got onto reading and bought lots of books and just read to him and did your nursery rhymes. You had a lot of nursery rhymes in your program. Just to give a brief summary of how it works, there's a traditional just learning the sound. So there's phonemes, and so the phonetic alphabet would be like at, bat, k, d, something like that. I'm not doing it quite correctly.
Can I ask you a quick question? Did you, when your son was really young, did you guys do any of the early phonemic awareness activities that I suggested in my book, like when he was around maybe 1.5, 2 years old?
I think we may have, I think so. I mean, we went through the phonemic alphabet. We didn't. There's a traditional alphabet, like the alphabet song, and then like that. And really got into it. She's really thorough how she does stuff. So, it didn't seem to have any trouble. So the thing that's special about your program is, I think it's the way that you learn the language progressively. How to read progressively. So I'm not sure what the first lesson. It's like ab or at or tab.
Yeah, we start like the first 3 lessons. We start with just the first 3 letters, the A, B, and C, and the sounds ab, and right. And then after that, we don't actually go in alphabetic order.
Yeah,
like
that's
the order
right.
Like the order that we kind of go in is basically what is the frequency that you see those letters in. So if the letters are seen more frequently, then we'll teach those first, because then we can create more words for the kids to read, right? Because early on, when you have just a few letters, you're kind of limited in how many words that you can actually provide a child for them to practice with. But after a few lessons, then that's not such an issue.
Yeah, I like that. You're just diving in straight into what you can have the most fun with. We do a lot of reading in our house, and our daughter's now 1 year old, and she just picks up books and just pretends to read now. She just pretends to. And then we've got like the alphabet on the wall, and she just points at it. She wants us to sound it out and everything. So there's no question that it's appropriate. I think it is. But
for sure.
Yeah, so they want to do it, and I think the whole word learning. I mean, there are sight words that don't obey the phonetic rules, right?
Yeah,
in English,
for sure. There is like portion of words in English that you can't really sound out by phonetically. I mean, the thing is, but you can sound out the majority of the words. So I would say, I'm guessing, like say 85 to 90% of English words you could actually sound out. And when you teach kids to do that big part of it, the small part becomes really easy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, it'd kind of be easier to teach them Spanish or Italian first, wouldn't it? I think it's mostly phonemic.
Yeah.
But that would be easier. But the languages build on those ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fundamental part of English is those, I don't know, the Romanic languages. What are they called?
Yeah, well, like English,
Latin and stuff.
English is probably a little bit trickier than a lot of the other alphabet-based languages. Like it's
Yeah.
got its own thing, but it also borrows a lot of words from like Spanish, from
Yeah, no.
French.
Yeah.
It's kind of there are some words that are a
Fine.
little bit trickier, you know.
Yeah. But anyway, the thing is, he does the sight words too only when he needs to, and then once he knows a word, he'll recognize that the whole word, but he knows where the phonemic, the base, where it comes from.
Yeah,
So you recognize
when
cat. You recognize cat comes from
yeah,
those phonemes, and then
yeah,
he doesn't need to sound it out anymore because he knows the word.
yeah,
But he does. He started from that, and now
yeah.
he's just fine. He just has lots of fun.
Like
Yeah,
he understands how English works as an
yeah,
alphabet-based language, right? He knows
yeah,
that, okay, I got to look at what's inside the word, and then those little symbols they represent sound, and then when I connect
yeah,
the sounds, then I can figure out
yeah,
what a word is, right?
yeah. That's right. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, thanks very much for doing your program. We didn't see anything that was geared to like really young children,
Mhm.
and seeing yours was great. So thank you. And Yeah, did I miss anything out on just explaining that? One of the important things is the phonemic awareness. They've got to kind of have
Yeah,
that before.
like phonemic awareness really is like absolutely critical to teaching children to read. Like it's one of those things that a lot of people have never even actually heard of it. You know, like you tell
Yeah,
they don't even know what it is, and like most people they don't know what sight words are because that's what schools teach. Every week. Like
yeah,
I live in Canada, and all the schools that here up to about maybe grade one, grade two, each week the kids bring home usually like 5 to 10 sight words, and they're expected to basically learn it. So basically
yeah,
memorize it, right? Like my kids, they bring home these strategy sheets, and then there's been quite a few where one of the strategies on there is they have a word on it, and then there's a shape drawn around the word, and then one of the strategies was recommending parents to help their children look at the shape of the words to learn
yeah,
it. So that's like completely opposite of what an alphabet-based language
yeah,
should function, right?
yeah,
That's how Chinese people read Chinese because
yeah,
you can't sound out Chinese.
yeah. They're pictographic, right? Pictographic,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's better. At least there's a picture. The Chinese word is they all look like houses and stuff, right? Don't they? The
yeah,
Chinese characters.
like
At least there's a rhyme and reason to
sure,
that, but
yeah.
there's no rhyme to recognizing the
No,
shape of a word.
no, not for
Yeah,
English. And the thing is, like, they teach sight words, but they don't teach. Some might teach phonics a little bit, but it's very rare that you find a teacher that would teach actually teach phonemic awareness. And then when
oh
and then
right.
when they and then when there are teachers that do teach that, then you found a really, really good teacher. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the thing about phonemic awareness is that um, it's not just that studies have proven it, but if a child lacks phonemic awareness, they're going to have a really, really tough time trying to learn to read phonetically because, you can teach them all the phonic sounds. A makes the a sound, B makes the b sound, etc. But if they don't know what to do with those sounds, and this is what phonemic awareness is all about, is teaching them to hear, first of all, hear all the smallest sounds inside words in our spoken language, and
yeah,
then teach them how to manipulate and how to connect and link those sounds together so that they can figure it out, right? Because if they can't figure it out, if they just have like, okay, I have dog spells dog, but we just teach them, okay, this is D makes the d sound, O makes the o sound, and G makes the g sound. You usually go d, o, g. But if they don't know what to do with it, all they hear
yeah,
is d, o, g. It doesn't make sense to them. But if you teach
yeah,
them, okay, we got to string it together, connect the sound smoothly. We have the og, and then it takes sometimes with the younger kids, it takes maybe a few times before they actually catch on what you're doing.
get the idea of blending
Yeah,
and reducing a word to the component, the sound components is what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But with
They've
the
got to be able to do that.
older, like the struggling readers I get, like the 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, they almost get it right away because they've
Yeah,
had that exposure to language, to reading, even though they may not have that phonemic awareness learning yet, but they catch on much faster compared to younger
yeah,
kids. Yeah,
yeah,
once they catch on, it becomes so much easier. to just teach them, and they catch up fast. They understand.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I was going to say. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, go ahead,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. I was just going to say. So the critical. I mean, the phonemic awareness, reading to your child if you can before you do the program. So doing enough reading. So that's critical. That's more important
Yeah,
than the
for sure.
program, obviously, in doing
Yeah,
it because you're
like
not going to
just
get
like
the program
giving the
without
kids
that.
exposure to
Yeah,
reading. It
yeah,
totally.
yeah, yeah. Reading. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And then the idea of breaking a word down, blending, or they call it motherese when you talk you say the word slowly and like clearly so they can hear it. Dog.
Yeah, it's like a
We
really
went walking the
stretchy.
dog today, like that. You know that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
motherese
Like, did you
thing.
guys do a lot of that
Yeah.
like in your everyday
Yeah.
speech?
Ruth done that. Yeah. Or just
Yeah.
slowing it down. She tells me to talk slowly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then so when you can do that and when you can explain that, you can kind of go over with them. This is how the word's pronounced. You're missing the, you know, whatever part of dolly. They might, you know, or something like that. I don't know. You're missing out a phoneme, a part of the sound. They can explain that to them, and then obviously when you're learning the reading, that maps onto that, you know, nicely. I think that's what speech therapists do, isn't it? I've never been to a speech
Uh,
therapy thing
they,
because when
I've actually like I haven't I've had a lot of parents that bring their kids to me from speech therapists, and it seems that speech therapists it is related because they deal so much with specific sounds. Like I guess they deal I don't know exactly what they do, but I'm sure they work more specifically on teaching kids how to pronounce the sounds properly.
yeah,
But in a lot of ways, I find that it does relate to teaching kids to read, because
yeah,
reading, yes, we're looking at text, but it's equally as much where we're actually using our ears to hear and using our mouth to speak, right? Like,
yeah,
even though when you read silently in your head, yes, we're not making any sounds physically, but in your head, you're still actually decoding on the fly, and your brain is actually hearing the sounds of the words,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah. That's great. One of the other questions we wanted to ask. So to prepare for this program, you've got to do the phonemic awareness, the concept of blending sounds. So blending sounds in words.
mhm.
So saying the word slowly, like dog, like you said, and that's like a cut blend, and then you can do it dog, which is a smooth blend,
Mhm.
right? So that's two things we've got so far. And then the other thing is you've got to have some kind of it's a commitment to doing the lessons. It's not much time per day. I think you mentioned it's only 5 minutes or
Yeah,
something.
it's
So,
not long, but
well,
it
yeah,
does take commitment. Like, it's one of those things
yeah,
where, like, it doesn't sound like a lot. Like, all you need is about 10 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes. Especially the earlier lessons, you can do like in 2, 3 minutes. It's really short.
yeah.
But a lot of times it's just other stuff come up, with
Oh, yeah.
family,
And
with
you've got to
kids,
have a
yeah,
time. Yeah.
things
You got
get
to have a time
messy.
when they're receptive. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's okay. So,
yeah,
I think it's always easier if parents can set a regular schedule.
yeah,
It makes it a lot easier because it
yeah,
reminds you, okay, the time is now to do this with my child. Whereas if you sort of set it to, okay, I'll try to find time at random times throughout the day when I'm able to do it with my child, then it becomes like, okay, I might do it today, and then tomorrow, like, stuff come up and I'm not doing it. And the next day, okay, I find 5 minutes, I'll do it. And the next day again, something comes up, and then we end up not doing it.
no,
Right.
yeah.
So,
It
like,
doesn't happen.
if yeah, it's difficult because I have 4 kids, so I know what that's like. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
so it's best, like, what I did with my kids is we set a specific time. Like, each with my all of my kids, it's a fairly same routine each day. Like, in the morning when they're younger, because they're home all day, right? We would do one session early in the morning, and then one session like in the evening just before bedtime or something like that. And then, like, with my youngest, it was funny because she got so used to that routine that when we finished the program, and like, every morning she would go get her own book, and then she would run to my desk, she would climb in my lap, she'd be like, "Daddy, reading lesson time." Like, I don't even
yeah,
have to remind her, right? Because
yeah,
they're so used to it.
yeah,
When we finished the program, she got so upset because her
yeah.
routine got
No, you can't
interrupted,
finish.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
she's
can't
like,
finish this
"I
program.
want reading lessons."
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, you know how to read now. And then
Yeah,
so, it took probably like a few days before she got used to the idea that, okay, I'm done with everything lessons and I can just read a book by myself, that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So it's funny because humans are creatures of habit, right? So when you build that habit into yourself and into your child, it makes the program flow so much easier.
yeah. That's it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that before. Like your brain is always at battling between different sub personalities, and like your hungry self and your tired self wants to do these different things. And so you need to structure your day so that that
Mhm.
personality kicks into gear. And that's the way
Yeah.
to, just get into that receptive mood. It's just constructing it. We find it's so hard to have any time of the day where you can have a structure. So just getting that time in the morning is critical,
Yeah. Like
because
like
then you've got
whatever
the rest
time
of the day
works,
to do
right?
what you like. Yeah, 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 yeah. With other people, it might be different, but
Mhm.
so that's the thing. So it needs that commitment. So parents that are time challenged and they've got other things going on, it might be hard to get that time in the morning. And so that those people are going to be tempted to use the screens. And so
Yeah.
like the electronic programs, there are phonemic programs out there electronically. I think they're geared to 2 to 8 years old. But
Mhm.
we've heard that using the screens, they just don't tune into a screen the way that do an adult, in the sense that they'll be amused by the lights and the
Mhm.
sounds, but they're just in a trance. They're not
Yeah.
they're
I
not
mean, I
actually
don't,
interacting with something.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't,
Have you heard
like, I've
have
never
you heard
used
of any
those
of this?
programs myself,
Yeah,
so like I can't really comment on how well they work.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in terms of human interaction and bonding with your child, like I don't think you can replace the
yeah,
attention and the care that a parent would have for their own child. When you're just
yeah.
spending, just having your child sit in your lap for, even just 5-10 minutes a day, that bonding time with your child, it's
That's
like
nice in and of itself. You could be doing
yeah,
anything.
like
Yeah,
yeah, it could be anything. Like
just
you can't put a value on that, right?
yeah,
You're with your
yeah,
child,
yeah,
you're bonding with your child, and if you can actually teach your child to read at the same time, you're imparting a super important skill that's going to
yeah,
benefit the child for the
yeah.
rest of their lives, right?
It
So,
almost seems you could forget about reading and just any rich, any like rich content rich lesson
mhm,
that you could do
for
with your
sure,
child is
anything. It
worth
could
it
be anything.
for itself. Forget about reading, just for itself. It's a great game.
Mhm,
And then, hey, by the way, we just taught you one of the most important skills you could ever use,
mhm.
which is reading. Um,
Yeah, and instead of just letting the tablet or smartphone babysit your
yeah,
child,
yeah,
they get so much, your child
yeah,
gets so much more out of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have a saying in our house: when the light on the screen goes on, the light in your imagination goes out.
That goes on. That
So
makes
you
sense.
can't.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
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 definitely.
yeah. So it's a sad thing. Yeah.
Does he read to you bedtime stories now, or?
He doesn't read us bedtime stories. He reads his sister. He reads
Oh,
to
okay.
his.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
So yeah. So we've got. So he gets the books out and he'll just actually start reading to her, and that's the
Oh,
sweetest
okay.
thing.
Yeah,
That really is.
it's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun to watch. Like the thing is when you have a little kid, like just being able to read at that age, like just like can you just imagine how much more knowledge and information that they can gather
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
compared to another child that doesn't learn to read until they enter school, right? Like
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that think, kids shouldn't learn to read early on, or if they do learn to read early on, when they get to school, they're going to be bored and et cetera, et cetera. Like
My mum says that.
they find all these
My mum.
different reasons to say kids
Yeah.
shouldn't learn to read,
Yeah.
but none of it it's I just don't think it's like that. Like my kids, they all read so well before they entered school. They were never bored. They were not troublemakers. Like that's another one of the reasons people say that if your kids are reading, they're going to be obnoxious. They're going to be disruptive because they're boarding school. No, my kids when they're in class, they're not bored. They know how to read, but when the teachers are teaching other kids to read, they just grab their own book, they go read, they go learn about the other
Yeah.
stuff.
Why not?
Like my
Yeah.
son, he's coming home and he's telling me about all these different dinosaurs and stuff. I was like, where'd you get all this? He's like, oh, I was
Oh
reading.
my God. There's so many dinosaurs that I didn't know about.
Yeah,
Now
seriously, like
there's
like
like
it's
all I
stuff
know is
that they're
Stegosaurus. Yeah. Yeah.
stuff that they're
Yeah.
interested in. They just read about it, and
Yeah. That's
yeah.
it.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and it's easy. It's an easy thing to do. Get that mastery earlier on. It's not a hassle anymore. It's just it flies off the page.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
when you've got that, it's like you want to read the next line, and it's beckoning for you. It's what they call it a page turner. You know, the book's beckoning. You go through it and you keep reading, and just giving that to them at that age, and then they can build on it, and it becomes more advanced. I just don't understand. It just seems nuts that
No,
people aren't doing.
they like when they learn to read at a young age, they learn to love reading books. Like it's just a lot of
Yeah,
times I'm like I'm yelling at my kids to put their books down and come eat dinner, right? But they're
yeah,
just sitting there reading the book, you know?
that's good.
So
It's funny.
yeah,
It's funny when you find
it's
yourself.
funny. Like I
You're
laugh
being
at
too
that.
good. Stop being too good and come and eat your dinner. You know what I mean? Like you should just leave them.
Mhm.
No, but yeah, you have to. You have to get them to dinner, eat
Yeah.
food. Yeah. But thanks very much for your time, Jim. I really appreciate it, and we'll be putting a link to your program on our description of the video. And good luck to you, and thank you.
Thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks.
Called boat own. Called boat row. Bold soap throw. Fold goat blow. Bolt foam show. Wolf load snow. Collect throat pillow. Mow the lawn. Mow the lawn. Wash the coat with soap. Wash the coat with soap. I own an old boat. I own an old boat. Row your boat. Don't throw the billet into the snow. Don't let it go into the snow. Look about. Look about. Look, a bolt of lightning. It's so frightening. I have a lightning. I want to jacket that any lightning.